Well, good morning, everyone. Today is the beginning of a brand new show that we're doing. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, I think for the first show, Aragonite, which is very important. It's one of our most plentiful natural resources. It's renewable, which means you can actually take it and it comes back the same way the sun rises every day. And so I have a guest from Bimini and Freeport ties that I wanted to talk a little bit about it. I'm going to be bringing in some experts throughout the week. We're going to have a short show. This is not going to be a long 2-hour show that's going to bore you. We're going to get straight to the point, and we're going to be talking about the issues. As you can see today, first ever in the Bahamas, a live studio network, BNN, which ain't going to be like the rest. But today I'm joined by Jeff Davis from Bimini, and we're going to talk to you a little bit about Aragonite. And everybody wants to know what all this, what this fuss is with Ocean Key, and we're going to show you what Ocean Key is and where exactly it is and what you need to know about it. But before we do that, Jeff, you want to tell us what you know about this Ocean Key up in the corner?
It's good to be here, Graham. Really appreciate the opportunity to be a part of this inaugural program right here. And I love my nation. Of course, I am a Biminite. I'm a retired teacher. And I'm somewhat of a historian, of course. And so we know that our nation, the archipelagic nation of the Bahamas, has two tremendous resources called the Great Bahama Bank and the Little Bahama Bank. In fact, all of the islands of the Bahamas are limestone, and of course, the limestone contains three important minerals called oolite, silica, and aragonite. It's contained in our sand, Graham. It's contained in even the rocks, in the natural topography or the natural geography of the Bahamas.
So all these things are in sand.
Certainly, to put simple, yes, it can be extracted from the sand or refined from sand.
So in sand, if you sieve sand, is a bunch of different pieces that make up a handful of sand. In there is different valuable pieces.
Yes.
Because no one's ever explained what this aragonite is. And we're just looking at Ocean Key. We're looking at from 1970s, where vast amounts of this sand and all the particles in sand, when you sift it, as I understand, you get fine particles out of it, which we know as aragonite, which can make glass, fertilizer, drywall, paint, and it's even in plastics as a filler. So why have we not... Anyway, you continue with what you're saying about what you experienced.
Well, first of all, aragonite is, once again, I said it's contained within the sand, and it's a valuable product that can be refined into many different products, and you just named a few. Ocean Key was formerly Sandy Key. We have a history in the Bahamas of whenever you want to use an island or abuse it, you change the name.
Right.
And so it was called Sandy Key. Look on all the maps. Ocean Key at its best was a man-made island then, expanded as a place to extract raw sand. And they did it by strip mining the sandy floor of the Bahamas. They just pulled it off with some suction hoses.
So they had a machine that went on the floor of the ocean and pulled the sand off the floor and pumped it onto this island by Bimini?
Yes, the island itself was man-made. It even had a little airport and, of course, docking facilities.
Right.
And it had housing on it for the workers. 200 men worked on that island at a time. There's a 24/7 operation going on. And so we were under the impression that it was just sand being exported out of the Bahamas.
Right.
But sand is so precious, it contains these wonderful minerals, calcium carbonated minerals called oolite, silica, and aragonite.
So we weren't really aware of the value, or maybe we were aware of the value and some people were doing well from the proceeds. Which one, we don't know.
Both are the case. If you allow 1 ton of aragonite or 1 ton of sand to be exported out of Bahamas, and the government only got 60 cents per ton.
60 cents a ton?
It was 60 cents, if I recall correctly, in 1971. Marcona Industries of South Florida may have been located in Lauderdale at the time. They had the contract. We felt that they were just taking sand to replenish beaches in the United States. But my father had a cement company, and we made our blocks using sand and cement. So we knew that it was involved in construction, any building, any road, any wall, any block, a cinder block they called them in those days, contained sand. So we had large piles of sand on our block plant in Poggy Bay, Bimini.
So if we don't even understand what Aragonite is, we know that sand has value. And you cannot get a 1-ton bag of sand for a little bit of money.
Well, imagine now.
For 60 cents?
The government
for
got
a 1-ton bag. 1-ton bag is like 50 of those little bags that we buy with sand.
Yes, the government got a throughput fees and a license fee, but a small fee for the people who exported this precious resource. And Aragonite, it's on the Great Bahama Bank. It's on the Little Bahama Bank. From Bimini to Andros is 80 miles. And any map of the Bahamas would show you that below the water is what we call the Bahamas. What is the mass of? Mass of sand. The Bahamas is the place of the shallow waters. The Spanish gave it this name. And so even below the ocean then, it's the same resource perhaps in this area, but we know for sure in the Great Bahama Bank and the Little Bahama Bank, that's what comprises the banks.
So we have, and we're gonna show some different images later, right? But if you zoom in, there were 2 runways that were on this ocean key, and you can see right there at the top, that hole from left to right was a runway, and on the left side, from north to south was a runway. And if you go down to the bottom, you'll see where that's the runways going 2 different directions. That's going from top to bottom. And if you go back to the top where you were, it goes over left to right at the very top. Those are 2 runways. And that right there, going straight down and going across. And if you go down to the bottom of the island, you can zoom in and see a boat right there. And you can see how big this boat is. And this is the size. The smaller vessels used to be bigger vessels that used to take the sand from here. And I'm going to get you the exact tonnage. Hopefully I have a guest, a friend of yours from Bimini. It may come on our next show. And tell us the exact amount of the product that left this country. And you will not believe the value that had.
Yes, really looking historically at it, we have lost those resources. The country was being raped by a misunderstanding of the value of the product. Or, as in the case of Jamaica, bauxite. While Jamaica became very poor after 1972, the Kaiser and Alcoa and Reynolds, the aluminum companies of the United States and Canada, did wonderful by making these raw resources into refined products. And that's been the history of the third world nations, That's the history of Africa. That's the history of India. That's the history of the Bahamas, that we've been exploited. Our governments have allowed us to be exploited by the very same resources that God gave us as our home. And so whether it's the diamond mines in South Africa or copper mines or wherever it is in the world, or rubber resources, or whether it's tea or coffee, natural resources are given for natural sustainability. And so our salt water is exploited, of course, but beneath the salt water, all the beach that you see, all the sand, really has an industrial value, and it can make glass. Could you imagine, Graham, the number of wide variety of use of glass? Glass for your glasses, glass for your
screen on your phone,
your solar panels, the
windshield in your car,
your house glass, you name it.
And plastic, now it's a filler for plastic, so plastic is unlimited. But as we brought up we're showing Freeport on the on the map now, and if you zoom in on Freeport, you'll actually see the harbor, the big port that was cut out, and you'll see that white section to the left of the screen. And that white section, if you zoom in on that, you will see a whole set of mining, and you'll see the conveyor belt there right where your mouse is if you zoom in, and you'll see that big pile of sand to the to the left of it. Come down, that's a big left. Right there, you see that big pile of sand. That can be rock sand, aragonite, calcium carbonate, whatever. And if you come 2 inches to the south, just below, go down 2 inches, you'll see, come down a little bit more. You'll see, zoom in where the big pile of sand was, up, and you'll see, keep going, you'll see a bigger pile. See right there, that top, go up a little bit, right there, zoom in on that. Now that looks small to us, but if you zoom in, you will see a 4-story dump truck on the top of that pile. Now that's pretty impressive. That is a serious pile of product. And if you follow the conveyor belt all the way down to your right, you see that belt, and you follow that all the way down, keep going, and you'll see right there, if you zoom in on those 2 piles of dark stuff, they're being put on a boat. Is that the aragonite that is at the cement quality? If you zoom in on that. And so we need to know what's going on in Freeport with the stuff that's being exported. There are huge amounts of canals throughout Grand Bahama. And where did the fill or the rock or the aragonite or the calcium carbonate, and these canals are not small, Jeff, where has that product gone? Who has benefited from digging out all of Freeport? Some saying compromising the water table, the drinking water. I believe Sir Lyndon said something to that in 1969. Who made the money on this stuff?
Well, it's obvious. It's being done with approval. It's being done with some regulation, I believe. It's also being done very openly.
Right.
And it's being done to cause even some environmental damage, but it's not trickling down to the ordinary Bahamians benefiting from a resource that God gave to the Bahamas. We gained these nations in 1973. The British, prior to that, gave land grants as a compensation for slavery. We are one of the few nations in the world where the people got land so they could get a restart as farmers or as people who have some place to live. All over the Bahamas. My great-granddaddy got 23 acres on South Bimini. His name is James Davis. Outstanding citizens were given land by the British. And you know today, Graham, many Bahamians are unable to access their lands, tied up in courts, not recognized by the banks, or feuding taking place among the families, as the case may be. But the soil of the Bahamas is rich. Some places they have coal underground. Some places they have salt in salt mines.
Right.
We have aragonite, and aragonite is a precious resource. It's a limited resource, but presently we have a lot of it, and it's like selling the nation the literal space and just leaving some water body. If you dig the island and send it northwards to the United States, they refine these products and send them back to the Bahamas.
You aware that in the 80s we sent barge after barge of sand to replenish the beach in Miami Beach? You realize during last year's hurricane we sent $10 million. It was on CNN. We sent $10 million just to replenish a little bit of sand on a beach in one of the Florida Keys. Now imagine all the Florida Keys. Imagine all of Florida that needed sand. Did they get our sand? And at $10 million just for a little bit to go on one key. But then I look inside the budget of the Commonwealth of Bahamas and it says we're getting a few $1,000s for sand revenue in royalties. How could that be? Where's the rest of the 10 million going?
Well, see, Graham, this is the point. We are building a nation by borrowing, taxing, and spending. But we are allowing tremendous resources to leave the nation, and we're not gaining an opportunity to benefit from the high value of our nation.
So who's running this? This is a soup kitchen kind of operation? Because that 10 million, right, in revenue could have bought the backpacks for school, could have helped with health care, could have fixed schools, could have taken schools in a different technical direction. We're zooming in on Ocean Key again to show you where this has actually happened. And it's just off of Florida. It's right by Bimini, a few miles away. And so we've lost this big money that could have helped the people. The people are being oppressed and are having to live worse and worse while someone's making big money on the resources.
Yes, because what we have, Graham, is a sense of privilege, privileges that protect them somehow. If they gain a legal license to mine sand mining license, then they get the opportunity to have a very low amount that they give to the government, right? The government doesn't own the sand outside of the nation. Nationals owning the sand. The sand is a resource of the nation. The governments are the hired servants given the opportunity to manage the natural resources and manage the industries and manage, of course, the legal parameters of government, the ministries and the departments, etc. But it's a shame then in 2018 that our nation, we continue to borrow and we are losing more and more of the keys sold to people and the literal soil being sold.
So today I just wanted to weigh in and give you just a little sample of what's about to come. And, you know, this Aragonite could have really helped a lot of this country with a lot of things. I'm going to do a little different show. We're going to start talking about how to fix the Bahamas instead of just complaining about the problems. You know, if we have a problem with no backpacks, how do we get backpacks? You know, I'm tired of listening for many years now, people just complaining about the problems, but no one coming with a solution, no one bringing in any experts. I'm hoping to get an expert by the end of the week to talk about this Aragonite, someone who would have been on the key from that Aragonite mining started. And he's going to bring you some serious insight as to what left this country. So it's going to be a little different format. As you can see, the studio's a little different. And believe me, the program's going to be a lot different. So for today, I want to thank you for watching. Share the video. And let's see if we can start getting the Bahamas fixed. We're going to have a lot more add-ons coming. We're going to have where you can call in live. And we're going to listen to what you have to say instead of cutting you off like when other people call other places and don't get to finish what they have to say. And we're going to fix the Bahamas. We're going to fix the Bahamas, believe me. Something totally new, and you're going to enjoy it. And it ain't going to be long. It's going to be to the point. Have a good one.